Good evening and welcome to another episode of Manhood Mondays. I am your host, Clifton Brantley, and I'm so glad that you joined me tonight. So, tonight is another one of those um, huge topics in the um, in the Manhood Monday series. We're talking about being a husband. What does it mean to be a husband? What does that mean to be a husband? All right. What is a good husband? What is a bad husband? Is being a husband different than being a man? All right. Um, we're going to talk about all this tonight. So I imagine most men who get married are not aware of all this role entails as far as being a husband. And that may be one of the reasons that you struggle at it. Yeah, that may be one of the reasons that you struggle at it. Now, before we get started, let me say that I know there are two sides that make any marriage work, right? I know there are two sides to make any marriage successful. For the wives who are here, who are watching, although I'm sharing with the men how to be better husbands, a lot of things that I'm sharing, I'm going to be sharing will be impacted by your interactions with your husband, right? Your interactions with your husband. And so that part is going to be crucial. I need you guys give me like 30 seconds. There's something on my camera. Y'all can't see it. Give me 30 seconds. All right, did y'all count? Was that 30? Hopefully it was 30. Wasn't much. But anyway, so as I was saying, wives, the way that you interact with your husband is going to impact the way that he shows up in the marriage, right? You want him to talk to you more, but if whenever he tries to talk, you act like you're not interested, then that's going to affect his desire to talk to you, right? So be mindful that we're all human, and husbands need to feel like they matter also. Okay, don't think that you're the only ones that need to feel like you matter. Husbands need to feel like they matter also. Now, when we talk about a husband, let's distinguish between a husband, a man, and a man who's married, right? You got a man who's married, and then you have a husband. And you may say, well, how is it three? Don't worry, I'm going to get to that, right? The number one distinction between the three is responsibility. The number one distinction is responsibility. A man's primary responsibility is to himself, right? He does what he wants when he wants. He comes and goes as he pleases. He talks to however many females he wants to. In general, he is his number one priority. Now, a man who is married is a man who has a wife, but still acts as if his main priority is himself, right? A married man may acknowledge that he does not have the freedoms that he did when he was single, but he promotes his own agenda above the marriage agenda. Now, a husband, a husband's primary responsibility is to his wife, right? A husband puts his wife's needs before his own. A husband will go out of his way to make his wife's life better. Now, you may be wondering why I separated the husband from a man who is married, right? Well, it's because saying I do does not turn you into a husband. All three of these, a man who's married, and a husband, they're all just roles, okay? They're just roles. They're roles that a person operates in. I think this is important because it can help you understand who to be when you are being you. right? It can help you understand how to be great without losing who you are. Because being a man is just a role. Being a husband, it's just a role. Here's an example. Steph Curry is a basketball player, right? That's his role at work. But at home, when he's with his wife, if he's always running through the house and throwing balls at circular things, right? And yelling, switch, switch, I got it, and one. Like if he's at home acting like he does when he's at work, folk gonna think he's crazy. Why? Because when he's at home, he's operating in the wrong role. That's not his role at home. That's his role on his job. But who he is in both places is Steph Curry. Am I making sense? So in the same way, being a man is a role that males play. Other roles that males play, and sometimes women, play these roles also, are males play the roles of husbands, basketball players, electricians, therapists, and like I say, as the list can go on. Mechanic, right? Surgeon. These are just roles, and the list can go on and on. But the point that I'm making is that the husband is a role, not an identity, right? Your identity is who God made you to be from the beginning. Your identity never changes because you're always you, right? Your role changes. Your role changes all the time. But with that in mind, when you're a husband, there are certain requirements for you to be effective in this particular role, right? So knowing that the husband role is a role, then there are certain requirements that's required in order for you to be effective at it. Now, a husband is a married man, but not all married men walk in the role of husband. And so what I'm hoping to do is to help you fully embrace the role of husband. Now, because it is a role, it may not look the same in every marriage, right? It may not look the same in every marriage. However, the fundamentals of being a husband, it will be the same, right? Just like basketball players, they don't play, like all basketball players don't play the same style of basketball. But they all need to have the fundamentals down in order to be a great player, right? So I thought it'd be cool to explain some of the fundamentals of being a husband in the same way that we talk about basketball. As see the different parallels between being the fundamentals of a basketball player and the fundamentals of a husband. Now, I'll be honest with you, as I was doing this part, when I started writing, because I'm writing my notes and I'm just kind of flowing. And when I first started, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And so I really thought the whole talk was going to be like a basketball analogy. That didn't last long because I'm not going to say it was, I don't know what it was, but my thoughts shifted in a different direction. But I'm going to give you this part because it's in my notes and I wrote it and I like it. So here's the first fundamental of being a husband. You need to know where the goal is. Yeah, you need to know where the goal is. You'll never be a great player if you don't know where the goal is. As a husband, knowing where the goal is means knowing that the only person on the planet who needs a husband is a wife. That's the number one goal, right? No one else needs a husband but a wife. This means that when you are trying to be the kind of husband that you want to be, it is pointless because you are not for you, you're for her. Everything about being a husband, everything about being in the husband role is for the wife, right? This should automatically set you up then as a student trying to figure out your wife, trying to learn what your wife needs, trying to understand what is it that your wife wants in a husband, because you're not your husband. You want to find out what she needs in a husband. Now, because the wife is human and she's not perfect, like the rest of us aren't perfect, the wife can't tell you everything about being a husband. But the main point that I'm making is you trying to be the kind of husband you want to be, as opposed to the kind of husband that she needs. Don't do that. That's pointless. Okay. So the second fundamental is knowing how to pivot, right? You got to know how to pivot. When you see your marriage going in a certain direction that's not healthy, you need to know how to pivot, change directions. In marriage, pivoting is crucial. And then once you pivot, you got to know what to do once you pivot, right? If you guys are going in the wrong direction, as the husband, you need to know when. Okay, and I'm talking about the relationship. I'm not talking about. It can apply to it like investments and financial things like that. But I'm primarily talking about the marriage when, so like when we're fighting, and it's starting to go way south. The husband needs to be able to pivot and turn and say, "Hey, babe, let's table this for another time." Or I'm not sure what I said that felt unloving to you, but help me understand how I made you upset, right? Got to know how to pivot. And then the third fundamental that every husband should have is the triple threat position. Triple threat. All right. So in basketball, triple threat position means that from one position you're in, you can do one of three things. You can pass, shoot, or dribble, right? Triple threat means you're ready for whatever the situation needs. Make sense? So in your marriage, you have to stay ready to give your wife what she needs, even if last week she needed something different, right? As a husband, you have to be ready to listen when she needs you to listen. Give advice when she needs advice. Be patient when it's time to be patient. Buy her a gift when it's time to buy her a gift. Right? You got to know, you got to be able to assess the situation and be ready for whatever the situation provides. But here's the thing. Don't miss the part where I said to do these things when it's time to do them, right? Not when you want to do them. Because remember, being in the husband role is not about you, just like being in the employee role. It's not about you. Now, at the same time, there are benefits of being a husband, just like there are benefits to being an employee, right? There is a payoff. But understand that your wife is the object of your love, attention, and protection. So you got to make sure that what you are doing for her and to her is for her benefit, and it's not just, well, this is just what I want to do, because being a husband is not about you. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right. Now, that's all my basketball analogy I got. Okay. So being a husband takes time to become good at. Yeah. Being a good man will not automatically translate into you being a good husband. One of the reasons for that reality is because wives often expect you to already know what to do, and that husbands don't show, most of the times husbands don't show up to marriage already knowing what to do, but the wife will expect you to know what to do. So then, because they expect you to know what to do, they then are sometimes not easy to figure out because they don't tell you certain things, right? But you are the one who signed up to be a husband, so you have to make it work, right? I was talking to my wife. I was talking to my wife earlier, and I was asking her about, what's something that you wish husbands knew. She said, sometimes we want you to plan something, right? We don't want to plan it all the times. Instead of saying, I'm going to take you out on a date, where do you want to go? Just plan it. I said, yeah, that sounds good, but you are telling me this. But who's going to tell the other men? Because the reality is, we don't show up to marriage just knowing these type of things. And if women aren't communicating it, but being upset with the man because he don't know it, like, where was he going to learn that? right? You think it's automatic and we just know it, but we don't. But on top of that, I told her, I said, y'all are hard to please. Case in point, I was telling my wife, I took you to a beautiful winery in Rice Village. She probably don't want me telling this story, but I mean, I'm telling it. If y'all hear from me tomorrow, y'all know what happened. But she gonna be on First 48, so y'all can watch TV. And let me get back to my story. So anyway, I said I took you to a beautiful winery in Rice Village, and you weren't happy. She said, but babe, that's just not what I was expecting after being cooped up in COVID. And I said, that's exactly my point. We don't know what y'all want. And she laughed. And then she was like, I think I hear somebody calling me. I bet you do, because you're making my point, right? My point is, husbands, you have to be okay with being in the dark sometimes. You have to be okay with figuring it out, and sometimes being blamed for what you did not do. That comes with the territory, right? Now you may be asking, how can I do all of that and still be happy and not crazy? Well, I'm going all the way back to week 1 and mentioning emotional maturity. When you're emotionally mature, you can adjust to things without becoming overwhelmed or frustrated. Right? As a husband, emotional maturity is crucial to your success. We humans thrive on connection. And if you don't know how to create connection with your wife, you will suffer. Yes, I am fully aware that some wives are unreasonable in their requests, but as much as it depends on you, be a great husband. Okay? Now, one of the things about being a husband is the leadership of a husband, right? I've had a few husbands come through my office with I'm the head and you need to submit and follow me kind of attitude towards their wife. While I do agree that the husband is the head of the wife, because that's kind of how I believe the creator of marriage set it up, most men have an understanding. Most men don't have a good understanding of what that means. And I'm only going to talk about this briefly. But you have to remember that both of you are equal partners. No one is more important than the other. Headship is simply a different role within the role of husband. Just as with any good leader, making moves and decisions on your own because you think it's right is not going to be right for your marriage, right? The best, the best explanation I've heard on this particular topic, and this is the thing that really shifted my mindset on the husband's role as a leader, was this talk by Dr. Richard Marks called The Power of Us. You may have heard me talk about that before. Remember, God created man and woman in his image. He created both of them in his image. He also said that the two will become one flesh. When they get married, they're one flesh. This one flesh idea is about unity. What that means then is that when someone comes to your house, they should see one flesh, right? They should see two people operating as one agenda. In your marriage, there are three, I'm going to say parts, three important parts, or you can say persons, in the marriage when you're married, right? So, and it's not God. That's not the other person I'm talking about. So in the marriage, there's you, me, and us. The most important part of the marriage is us, husbands. You're the leader. You're the head. But the most important part of the marriage is us, the one flesh. Don't miss that. When us is not in the marriage, then the marriage is not a good place to be in. It's not a fun place. It's not a happy place. It's not a place that brings joy, right? So the idea of a husband making moves, even if he feels he's being led by God, it's not correct if us is not in agreement with it. Because the thing is this, God will not divide a unit. So if he speaks to you, he will speak to her too. Okay? So he's not going to just speak to you, he's going to speak to her too, or else you guys don't move. Why? Because us is more important than you or me. You got to get that. Learn to value your wife's thoughts and opinions. Now, let me share with you this last part about what your wife needs more than anything else, and then I'm going to share some of the feedback that I got from a few wives. I email and text a few of the wives, and I got some feedback. But before I get to that, let me share with you the thing that your wife needs the most. Okay. Now, when we're growing up, we get the message that the number one thing a man needs to do is to be a provider financially. And it is true. Men should be providers. However, for a husband, in the role of husband, his number one focus cannot be financial provision. Your number one priority as a husband is your wife's emotional security. Her emotional security. Now, sometimes when the money is unstable or if it's not enough, then that can trigger emotional insecurity. Okay. But just know that your wife needs emotional security more than she needs financial security. If your wife is emotionally secure, she will live with you in a shack and help you build. But if your wife is not emotionally secure, you can put her in a mansion and she will still be unhappy and disconnected. What kind of things, you may be asking, what kind of things attack her emotional security? I'm glad you asked, because this is a list. I hope you got your pen and paper. And some of this it's obvious. Some of it may not be obvious. But here's some things that attacks her emotional security. Flirting or messaging other women inappropriate messages. Okay. Not listening to her. Yelling at her. Only touching her when it's time for sex. Not dating her. Getting any of your marital needs met outside the marriage, whether that's needs for attention, need for fun. Y'all not, you know what I'm saying? So don't think all about sex, but you can have a need for fun, but you're always getting that met on the outside of the marriage. That can cause your wife to feel emotionally insecure, because the message that you're sending to her is, you don't really matter as much to me. You don't really matter to me, right? And probably the biggest injury to her emotional security is the feeling of being invisible, right? This is the number one reason that women step outside of their marriage. They feel invisible. They feel like he don't see me. They feel like they feel like I don't matter. If you keep sending the message to your wife that she does not matter, eventually she will leave. Okay? So make your wife's emotional security your number one goal. And as always, these are just small small nuggets, small pockets, small intrusions into your life that I'm giving you to give you just a little insight about how to be a husband, how to do life better, how to be a man. But understand that it's going to take more than these, 30, 45 minutes, however long we do on Mondays, in order for you to be better. If you're really, really committed to being your best self. Now, if you're doing this for entertainment, like I can think of some other stuff that you can do for entertainment. You don't need to watch me. I mean, I don't even think I'm that funny for you to be spending your time doing this. But if you really want to grow, if you really want to be who God created you to be as a husband, then getting this information is good. But going beyond this to do the extra work, whether that's therapy with me, whether that's coaching with me, or whether that's, hey, emailing me, hey, man, what kind of books can I get to help me with this? Even I'll do that, right? It's not just about sitting in front of me and doing therapy. However you can get it, you can get it. But I'm just saying this time that we have on Mondays won't be enough, okay? Now, last thing I want to do is share some of the feedback that I got from from some of the wives, and then we're going to take some questions, okay? So I asked the wives, same question I asked my wife. What is something that you wish husbands knew? Okay, and here's what they said. One of them said, you don't have to fix everything. I've heard that before. You don't have to fix everything. Every complaint is not a cry for help or for you to, it's not a problem for you to solve. Like, you don't have to solve every problem. Sometimes women just want you to listen, right? Proverbs 25:11 says, timely advice is lovely, like golden apples in a silver basket. Key word is timely. Timely advice is lovely. Know when and when not to offer advice. Now, that's going to come from you learning your wife. Here's another one. One wife says, allow your wife to be vulnerable and transparent so they don't have to suppress how they feel around you. That is crucial. That is crucial. While, your wife is responsible for her own emotions, she's responsible for her expression, you help make it safe for her to express when you allow her to be transparent and vulnerable. You got to be at a place emotionally mature to where what she shares, you don't take it personal. Those are her feelings and her thoughts. They're not yours. You don't have to carry them. Okay? But get to a place to where your wife can share the things with you that she don't like, right? Unless you're perfect, and you're not, she's going to not like some things. Some things are going to upset her. And sometimes you're going to do something wrong that you thought wholeheartedly you were doing right. That's okay. Accept the fact that you're human, and then hear the complaint, and then adjust. Complaints are not bad, right? You make a complaint at the department store because you want a different kind of service. Same with your wife, right? Here's another one. For those husbands who have cheated, you have to be patient as your wife learns to feel safe again. All right. At the end of the day, they just want to feel safe. One wife said, we can get our own bags and our own food and buy our own stuff, but just make sure we're safe. And I feel that, right? I can feel that. You've heard me say before, husbands, sometimes we attach value, and people in general, but I'm talking to the husbands, we attach value to things that maybe shouldn't be having that kind of value or weight. For example, if your wife goes to the store to get, let's say she goes to get her soda, and she know you love ice cream, but she didn't bring you any ice cream back. That doesn't mean she don't care about you. That doesn't mean she's not considerate. That doesn't mean she's mad at you. All it means is she didn't get you any ice cream. And you attaching significant weight to that only hurts you, because the reality is you get in the car and go get your own ice cream. If you can do it yourself, don't put it on your wife or anyone else. If they don't do it, then now you're mad. You can express, hey, I wish you would have bought me some ice cream, but that's it. Like, don't add weight to it that shouldn't be there. All right, that's time for another topic. I'll talk about that another time, but be careful about doing that. Here's another one. A wife said, communication is crucial to a woman's connection with you. Oh, that's good, right? Intimacy starts with communication. Okay, intimate conversation leads to emotional intimacy. I talked about this a few weeks ago. Then leads to physical intimacy. But you being able to communicate with her effectively, like a lot of men come to marriage not knowing how to express themselves, how to communicate effectively. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you staying there. I don't have an issue with you not knowing how to tie your shoe. My issue is you not learning how to tie your shoe after you realize, oh, I don't know how to tie my shoe. You feel me? Don't stay there once you find out you are there. All right. Here's another one. True intimacy starts before you get to the bedroom, right? It starts with you making her feel a certain kind of way long before you guys get into the bedroom. That's important. I need to do, I think I need to do another not webinar, but another video on sex, because I can't remember if I talked about this when I talked about intimacy and pornography and stuff like that. But I do think I mentioned it. But men, you got to understand, women don't work like we do, right? They're not instantly ready as soon as they lay down in the bed. And my wife gave her feedback on this. She said, you know, when you have a family, like you have children, especially when you have little children, we don't have little children, but when you have little children, do all you can. I know both of you working, but if you want the intimacy piece, do all you can to help lighten her load, right? When you get home, clean the kitchen so she can cook. After she cook, put the dishes up. Help put the kids up. You know, make the bed nice. So so all she gotta do is go take a shower, get in the bed. And when you get in the bed, it's clobber time. Where that come from? Fantastic Four. I'm sorry. That was. Oh, that was interesting. But the point is, my wife say, help her be intimate with you. But beyond that, this wife, what she was talking about as far as intimacy, intimacy starts in the morning when you wake up. Good morning, love. You're so beautiful. Give her a kiss. Right? Throughout the day, send her sweet notes. Flirt with her. Even if you know it's already a given, we can't be intimate tonight, right? Because we got too much going on. Whatever the case, you still build up. So when the day comes, and let me be clear, I'm not talking about manipulation, right? I'm talking about genuinely pursuing your wife and genuinely showing interest. I'm not saying, do this stuff just so you can get some. I promise you won't value it, and she'll be able to tell that you were faking. So I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about, if you love her, show some signs before it's time to go to bed. That's the main point, right? Someone else said this: be consistent in whatever you do, right? Do something every day to let her know she's not just a friend, right? Now, when I got this particular response, I needed clarification. I'm like, every day? Like, what can a brother do every day? Like, because in the moment, I just wasn't thinking, what, every day? She said things like, look into her eyes and say, I love you, or I really missed you today, right? Give her kisses and not just a peck, right? Give her a long hug or embrace her with a compliment. I'm like, okay, I see. So yeah, so that's some good stuff. Here's another. I think this is a good one. This is a good one. When it's that time of the month, don't be in her face, right? But don't be too far away, right? When it's that time of the month, that's not time for you to have some alone time and be by yourself. Like, oh, good. Let me just get away from her until she's off, off her period or whatever. No. This wife says, don't be all up in her face, but don't be too far away. Okay. So, and that's all I got for you, husbands. As far as on that particular topic, don't be too far away. What does that mean? I don't know. You got to talk to your wife. I'm going to talk to my wife about it. But we don't understand that as men, because that ain't our reality. But whatever she tells you, listen and follow that, right? Here's another one. I think this is the last one. And this came from someone who, because I have clients who are of different cultures. I have, Indian, I have Nigerian or African, because I have several African cultures. I have Hispanic, right? And different kinds of Hispanics or whatever. And so a lot of times culture plays into the marriage more than it should. So this this person who I emailed said, no matter what your culture is, see me as a woman first, right? Treat me like a normal human and learn how to live with me based on me, not your culture, right? I think that's crucial. I think that's very important. And I try to tell people all the time, you are a man or a woman. You're human before you're a man or a woman. Then you're a man or a woman before you, whatever culture you are. So don't get caught up in, well, my culture does this. Yeah, but if your culture doesn't work for your spouse, you got to look at changing that. You got to be with the one you're with, not the one you were prepared to. Oh, that's good. I'm recording it. Obviously, I should have wrote it down. But you gotta be with the one you're with, not the one that you were raised to be with. Now, that's culture or no culture, because most men are raised for disconnection. So most men are raised, actually, most men are raised to be single. I don't know if you know that. But when you get married, you're no longer single, so stop acting like it. And when I say raised to be single, meaning we don't know how, they don't raise us for connection. They don't raise us to know how to engage emotionally. All right. So anyway, yeah, get over that. When a woman asks you, do you love me? This is the last one. When a woman asks you, do you love me? It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong, but that her internal security got triggered. So just answer her, right? Don't go in, because we men, we feel like if you ask, do you love me? It's like, yeah, like, did I do something? What would make you even think that? Don't do that. Just realize it ain't you. She just needs to hear it. So just answer the question and keep moving. If there needs to be a conversation after that, then y'all can have a conversation, but just answer the question, right? So all in all, I know most of you men are trying to become something you've never seen. But you can become what you've never seen by making up your mind to be the best version of yourself and learning your wife so you can do the role of husband in a way that makes her feel like she's the most blessed woman on the planet. And that's the thing. As you're doing marriage, can you honestly say, regardless of what she's giving you, regardless if she's being disrespectful or whatever, can you say you are loving your wife in a way to where she feels like she's the most blessed woman on the planet? If you cannot say that, what's holding you back? I assure you, the only thing holding you back is you. You and your beliefs about who you are. That's it. Nothing else is holding you back. At the end of the day, if you make sure that you love your wife in a way that honors God, you will do well as a husband. But that also means that you have to know what would honor God so that you can do that. You feel me? All right. Thank you guys for your time. Let's open up for some questions. You guys have any questions for me? We'll take a few minutes. And I did good timing. It's only a little over 30 minutes. That was good. So what kind of questions you guys got for tonight? Any questions at all? Rodney, I was looking for your name earlier, because I think you sent me an email. So I'm writing this down so that I can email you back. I think you emailed me. If not, then sorry. I thought I saw your name, though. So what kind of questions you guys have? I'm waiting and watching. Someone asked for my Cash App. There you go. Just in case. How many of y'all like the 5 Heartbeats? That's my favorite movie. Me and my wife, we always doing movie quotes, and we so I always say just in case. I sing that part from the, never mind, it's irrelevant. My wife understands. What y'all got? Any questions for tonight? I know my mom's not on here because she's calling me, so she's not watching right now. Then again, she's mom. She might be watching. I'm calling anyway. All right. Anybody have anything for me? Any questions? I know y'all should have some questions tonight, because I intentionally was vague on some things so that you would ask questions. So you can either ask questions or just kind of take the half information I gave you. You're going to mess some stuff up or get it half right. I don't know. But I'm going to wait a little while. Let's see. Let's see what this says. How to help my wife express her emotions and feelings not being suppressed based on my reaction. Well, you got to make it safe. So don't give her a reaction that would make her feel like she's not accepted or validated. The number one way is to do just that, to validate. When she so let's say when she does express herself, you validate what she said and what she feels. Now, if it's already at a place where she doesn't want to, I mean, she doesn't feel, let me move this out the way. It's getting on my nerves. If it's already a situation where she won't express because of how you have been in the past, then you sit her down, you have a conversation, say, hey, babe, I know in times past, I haven't responded in a way that would encourage you to share, but I'm working on that. So what I want to do is provide you a safe space in order to share your thoughts and feelings with me, because I want to know. But then as the husband, you got to know that, again, what she says and what she shares, it's less about you and more about her, right? So if she says something like, well, I do have something on my mind. And what I have on my mind is, I don't like the fact that you don't clean the dishes well. Now, you may think that you clean, and it's just a crazy example. You may think that you clean the dishes very well, but these are her thoughts and feelings. She feels like you don't clean the dishes well. Your response isn't to defend yourself by saying, yes, I do. No, your response is, okay, so I hear you saying, this is called validation. Okay, so I hear you saying you wish I cleaned the dishes better. And then she'll say, yes. I say, okay, so help me understand, when the dishes are clean the way you're talking about, what will be different from the way that I'm doing it? And then let her explain to you. But that's a conversation. But when your wife says something that you don't like, and I don't want to hear that, or you blow up or something, then it's going to make it not safe for her. Here's another thing too, on this same point. You got to know the woman that you're married to, right? So while all of us want to be talked to in a respectful way, women by and large are not raised to know how to talk to men. And if you know you got a woman with a fly mouth, when she starts talking to you, you got to, at a certain level, you got to block the flyness and hear what she's saying. Talk to her about the flyness later, right? But don't get all upset because of how she came at you, because how she's coming at you has nothing to do with you. She was that way before she met you. So now all of a sudden that she met you, you think she's just supposed to be able to do it great? No. Now she should be working on it, but that's not your business. Your business is how you treat her, right? So deal with your wife in a way that respects who she is as she grows to be better. That makes sense? So hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. If you messed up in some of these, how do you come back? So I tell people all the time, the only way to, the only Band-Aid that we have in our relationships is an apology. There is no rewind button. So no matter how bad you messed up, you can't go back and undo it. So number one, you got to have change. So after the apology, after a genuine apology, then there has to be changed behavior, right? You can't keep doing the same things that cause your wife harm. Or look, you can't do things that look like, or things that trigger the memory from whatever harm. You feel me? Now, because a marriage is two sides, there's only so much you can do. At a certain level, your wife has to make up her mind to forgive, period. No husband is going to be perfect. And if the requirement is you need to be perfect before I can forgive you, you're in trouble. Okay. So, but the way to come back when you've messed up is to become a better person, right? Change the behavior, that whatever that was, and then just love her. Love her. It's difficult to love someone when your mindset is stuck on, you won't give me a chance. That's not your business. Your business is being your best self, working on you. If you fall down, get back up. No woman wants a leader or a husband who, when they fail, they can't get up. You're going to fail. You're going to blow it really big. Nobody blew it bigger than Peter. Well, I can say nobody. But Peter was Jesus's friend, right? So Jesus had hundreds of disciples. Let me give you perspective. He had hundreds of disciples. Within those 100, he had an inner core of 12. Within the 12, he had an inner core of 3. James, John, and Peter. Peter was in the three, and Peter denied him the night that he was betrayed. So Judas betrayed him, but Judas, the Bible says that he was a devil from the beginning. But then Peter, his friend, betrayed him. If Peter had not come back from that, we'd have no 1st, 2nd, 3rd Peter, which is some of the most powerful writings that we have. Who would have preached on the day of Pentecost? Somebody would have, but it wouldn't have been Peter, right? My point is, you can't allow your mistakes to keep you a prisoner, because your future needs you, all right? Your wife needs you. Your children need you. Get over that. We can't rewind. Repent, ask for an apology, go forward, be better. Forgiveness, forgive yourself. Your wife forgiving you, I mean, that's on her, but you got to forgive yourself, so that because you can't move forward and be better if you don't forgive yourself. I know that for sure. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. That's it. So I'll have those 2 questions. Okay. Well, I think I've answered everything, right? Excelente. Well, next week is, I believe, the final week of Manhood Mondays, where we're doing every Monday. But listen, I was thinking today, here's what I want to do. I'm not going to do next Monday. I'm going to take a Monday off. So we're going to skip next Monday. We're going to do 2 Mondays from now. Okay. 2 Mondays from now is where we're going to do God and purpose, right? Talk about having a purpose-driven life and talking about the significance of believing the right things about God. Because when you believe lies about God, I promise you, you will suffer. And so we're going to talk about that in the next couple of weeks. And then beyond that, I'm still working on the meetup for the Manhood Mondays group. It won't be on Mondays, but the men's group, where we can come together and share and just grow as a group. Still working that out, the details. I got to find a location. That's the main thing. Finding a location for up to 10 to 15 people at a time. And I'll do them maybe like in semesters or something, because once I get a group of men, I don't really want them interchanging. I want a group of men for us to grow, and then, maybe the next semester we'll do. And I'll try to come up with some stuff to help us. But anyway, my point is, I'm still working that out. So next week, we're going to take a break, and then the following week we're going to come back and we're going to do purpose and the importance of God. Okay? All right. As always, I appreciate you guys for allowing me to speak into your life. Hopefully something was said that was helpful, and I will see you next time.